Hello and welcome to The Top Story, a podcast with the headlines of the day from our correspondents around the world. I'm Tianlu. Coming up in this edition. Israel has issued a massive evacuation order in Khan Younis, forcing tens of thousands of people to leave overnight. The Paris 2024 has come to a close after 19 days of competition. China has achieved 40 gold medals, marking Team China's best performance at an overseas Olympic Games. And Monday marks World Elephant Day, an occasion to raise public awareness about the protection of these giant animals. We begin in the Middle East. Israel has issued a massive evacuation order in Khan Younis in the southern Gaza Strip, forcing tens of thousands of Palestinian residents and displaced families to leave overnight. The order covered multiple districts, making it one of the largest such orders since the conflict began. Israeli forces said they were targeting Hamas militants. Palestinians and the UN said nowhere in Gaza is safe. Akram Al-Satari has details.
One more evacuation order that is driving 100,000 Palestinians away from their areas. This is the second evacuation order in 5 days, completing all the areas of Khan Younis. And now the tents are vanishing, people are disappearing, people are frantically moving, using whatever they can, removing their luggage and hoping they would leave the area. 2 residential buildings were targeted, and I think that was an indication and a warning for the people who are in this area to leave the area and head somewhere, as they were told by the Israeli occupation forces. They are moving now to Al-Mawasi. They don't have much of an option. They are trying to seek help from their relatives, from their dears, acquaintances, and they are extremely lost because of that. Also, the CGN team they have been also, and we have been all, like all the people in that area, trying to collect our luggage, trying to move from this area. When you are leaving Hamad City, thousands of cars and animal drawn carts and vehicles and motorcycles and tens of thousands of people who are rushing to leave the area.
This is my 5th or 6th displacement. I'm currently in Hamad City, and the city was evacuated, or rather, the 2 towers were bombed. Where are we going? We do not know. They say that Mawasi is a safe area, but I believe that when it comes to the occupation, there isn't any safe place. There isn't even a humanitarian zone.
In this particular area, Hamad City, there was a 21-day intensive military operation, and that resulted in the killing of tens of the people who are living in this area, and also the arrest of 1,000 Palestinians who are also residents of this area. Now the Palestinians are afraid of the very imminent scenario that is going to be replicated. In other areas of the Khan Younis, the bombardment is still ongoing. In Rafah area, the bombardment is still ongoing. In Al-Nusayrat and Deir al-Balah, Al-Burj and Al-Maghazi, bombardment is still ongoing. Bodies of the people are collected by the civil defense and the Minister of Health, and this scenario is likely to exacerbate their suffering and is also likely to continue taking their lives and hopes.
That was Akram Al-Satari reporting from Gaza. Next to Europe. The Paris 2024 Olympic Games has come to a close after 19 days of competition and over 300 medal events. The closing ceremony was held at the Stade de France on Sunday. Movie star Tom Cruise rappelled from the roof of the stadium and received the Olympic flag as the French capital handed the reins to the US for Los Angeles 2028. The closing ceremony also saw the awarding of the last medals from the women's marathon event. In a break from tradition, the women's marathon closed this year's games in a bid to highlight the sporting feats of women. The US and China each finished with 40 gold medals, a first in the history of the Summer Games. The result also marks Team China's best performance at an overseas Olympic Games. French President Emmanuel Macron has congratulated Chinese athletes for their achievements. Macron says China has become a country strong in sports as it has made great efforts to boost the sector.
The achievements China made in table tennis, swimming, and many other sporting events at the Olympics have proved that it is capable of cultivating excellent athletes, which is inspiring.
He also expressed hope that the Olympics will help encourage more young people to take part in sporting activities. What helps make the Olympics so memorable are those special and unique moments in competition. The Paris Olympics did not disappoint on that score. Hendrik Sibrandy reflects on some of the highlights.
Far from Paris, here in Denver, Colorado, baseball is a summer staple. But this summer, many sports fans made the Summer Olympics a priority when they weren't at the ballpark.
I love volleyball. I'm a volleyball gal.
Yeah, I've been watching the gymnastics and a lot of the swimming.
I only really follow the women's gymnastics.
There have been lots of standout performances. French swimmer Léon Marchand won 4 gold medals. The Olympics are an opportunity to sample sports you wouldn't ordinarily see and enjoy, like artistic swimming, in which China took gold.
It was beautiful. There's a lot of energy and a lot of splashing compared to what it used to be.
But it's athletes creating memorable moments that really got people talking this time around. The father and daughter who won swimming medals 32 years apart, the 11-year-old Chinese skateboarder, the badminton players who became engaged to be married right after one of them won gold. And who can forget the table tennis players from the DPRK in South Korea who posed for selfies together on the medal stand. At a time when the world is so turbulent and our attention spans are so brief, the Olympics allows people around the globe to share some common experiences and maybe set aside their divides for 2 short weeks.
I think a lot of things you see in the news and stuff is like countries are at odds and trying to fight each other and whatnot, and then every 2 years you get global representation where everybody's just rooting for everybody to do good.
Many would say that was the goal in Paris. Fans we spoke with said, mission accomplished.
That was Hendrik Sibrandy reminding us on the memorable moments at the Paris Olympics. In the United States, it's been over a year since deadly fires destroyed the historic Hawaiian town of Lahaina on the island of Maui. While the exact cause of the disaster remains under investigation, survivors are still struggling to get by with meager supplies. It is Tianxian speaks with local researchers carrying out health surveys. The preliminary results show a staggering lack of health care.
This local clinic is recruiting participants for the Maui Wildfire Exposure Study. It's the largest study of its kind where researchers aim to trace the health impacts of the historic fire in Lahaina 1 year ago. Director Dr. Ruben Juarez is shocked to find out most participants haven't received any kind of health care since then.
Health was never a priority for the government. And to give you an example, the legislature came up with different things that had to be addressed. Health was never there. It was housing, it was obviously job losses, things like that. And now we are seeing the consequences, unfortunately.
Preliminary findings indicate mental health has long been overlooked.
52% of participants had signs of depression. And 30% of participants had also low self-esteem, and in terms of suicidal ideation, 4% of participants.
This is a community that's traditionally relied on itself during hard times, but some victims like Quinn Carroll realize that more help is needed from the government, especially in healthcare.
It was a lot of the community help that was providing a lot of the services and the things that people needed, like water and food and everything like that. And it still kind of also feels like the government and the state and federal is not really involved in the ways that I think that they should be, when really they should be working for us. It doesn't feel so much that way.
Blood samples taken from some of the fire victims have detected high levels of lead and other heavy metals, but health authorities have been slow to respond as there isn't a single toxicologist on the island of Maui. Other screenings have revealed mild to severe lung obstructions that can lead to further complications.
There's only one pulmonologist on island that serves the community at large. That person is not even full-time. So there's a need for sure in the healthcare sector to build support and increase the workforce of specialized care in the state. I think it served as a wake-up call for not just us, but for the rest of the country that sees us as just a tourist destination, that we do have glaring gaps in our healthcare system. We have health inequities and health disparities that need to be addressed.
Our request for an interview with Hawaii's State Department of Health has been turned down. Local scientists say the study has exposed shortcomings in the healthcare system.
That was Idias Tiansen reporting. Turning to Africa, at least 53 people have died following heavy rains in Sudan. Authorities say floods have also injured more than 200 people and displaced well over 20,000. Thousands of homes have collapsed or been damaged. Meantime, waterborne diseases such as cholera have been on the rise in several states. Torrential rains claim lives and destroy infrastructure in Sudan between May and October every year. But the impact is appearing to be much worse this year, with millions of displaced people pushed into flood zones due to the ongoing war. In Uganda, at least 21 people are dead after a vast landfill site in Kampala collapsed. Among the deceased is a 3-month-old baby. Police say they are expecting to find more bodies as the search and rescue operation continues. The Ugandan president has ordered a thorough investigation. Leon Senyang has more from the scene.
Where homes once stood and animals and people roamed freely, huge mounds of waste now cover the ground at the Chitezi dump site. The landfill is a crucial one for the Ugandan capital, as all of Kampala's waste is dumped here. Locals had complained about its poor state for years, but little was done about their pleas. And on Saturday morning, local time, the dump site partially collapsed, following intense rains the night before.
I was away for a funeral. My house is destroyed. I had 8 children in my home.
On Saturday, 6 bodies were recovered. 12 more were retrieved by Sunday.
The rescue mission is ongoing. We shall stay here until we see that all the dead bodies are retrieved. In case, and if there is anybody who is still alive, we see that we rescue that person.
The digging continues despite the difficult working conditions made worse by the thick sludge of waste. Local residents are not giving up, however, putting in a hand to salvage anything. It is unknown the number of people that may still be trapped under, and the chances of finding anybody alive are getting slim with every passing hour. Kampala's waste management problem has been compounded by this tragedy. More than 1,500 tons of waste are processed at the Chitezi landfill each day. With a section of the dump site now unusable, questions will be raised on how the city should handle its growing trash problem going forward. There had been warnings in the past concerning the possible dangers of the landfill, and there will be more in the coming days.
The community continued to develop, advancing towards the landfill, which was now a big mountain. When it rained, and with waste pickers operating on top of the mountain, the West Mountain, it created weaknesses, which resulted in a landslide.
The government is offering $1,500 in financial support for affected families. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has also ordered an investigation into the incident.
That was Leon Senyang on the deadly landfill collapse in Uganda. Finally, Monday marks World Elephant Day. It is an occasion to raise public awareness about the protection of these giant animals. 3 years ago, a herd of wild Asian elephants from southwest China embarked on an unprecedented migration, passing through many public areas. Yang Jinghao revisited their natural home to discover how they have grown and to explore the broader protection efforts.
You may still remember these giant, lovely creatures. In 2021, this herd of elephants, known as a short-nosed family, made an epic journey in southwest China's Yunnan province. Starting from the natural habitat in Xishuangbanna, they left footprints all the way north, almost to the provincial capital Kunming. Their adventure captured attention worldwide, but how are they doing now?
I'm here at the Xishuangbanna National Nature Reserve. The herd of elephants has been living in these dense forests since their return in August that year. And as surveillance footage shows, the family has continued to grow over the years.
Latest footage shows several members of the family have had babies, and some now live together with other herds. Peng Jingfu is an elephant monitor who tracks the movements of their tusked neighbors using different methods to provide early warning for nearby villagers.
The elephants we observed belong to the short-nosed and Shanshan families. Typically, they emerge from the forest around 5 or 6 in the evening to forage and return around 6 or 7 in the morning. During the summer and the autumn month, they often roam near the villages.
In addition to monitoring, local authorities have also strengthened efforts to help those in need. A rescue center on the reserve has saved over 20 elephants from the wild so far, either injured or deserted. For the first time, the center tried to release one of them into the wild earlier this year after 2 years of training, seen as a breakthrough in conservation efforts.
We've been using drones and infrared cameras to monitor him, and so far he's in good physical condition.
Experts say the world still faces multiple challenges and should join hands for the animal's well-being.
I hope for more international exchanges and cooperation in the future. I think China's experience and practices on elephant monitoring, conservation and research are worth sharing with more countries. Only through common efforts can we better protect the species.
In Yunnan, preparations to establish a national park designated for Asian elephants are in full swing. The facility is expected to provide a larger and more complete habitat for the much-loved mammals.
That was Yang Jingha reporting on the wild Asian elephants from southwest China. Now recapping today's headlines. Israel has issued a massive evacuation order in Khan Younis, forcing tens of thousands of people to leave overnight. The Paris 2024 has come to a close after 19 days of competition. China has achieved 40 gold medals, marking Team China's best performance at an overseas Olympic Games. And Monday marks World Elephant Day, an occasion to raise public awareness about the protection of these giant animals. That's it for this edition of The Top Story, a podcast that brings you world headlines every weekday. For more news in politics, business, sports and culture, you can subscribe to the Beijing Hour, a one-hour podcast news magazine program. We welcome and appreciate all ratings and reviews. I'm Tianlu. Thank you for listening.